Day 107. So, catching up on my tanning because the days that we've had so far that's been nice, it's been too cold to actually tan. And so finally today, a nice warm day, decided to do some napping, and I also did some work. And so we did catch up on my tan, but you see, I forgot to take off my tank top before that. And I also forgot to take my... There's a nice little circle here. Now, Mercury retrograde is not being very good to me today, so I'm going to move towards the house and see if this gets better. Ooh. Okay, so we'll do my live here. I don't think it's going to be a long one because Mercury retrograde is clearly getting in my way right now with the poor connection. So, hi. So the past basically 24 hours have been super exciting with my IG stories and all the readings that I received. I am so grateful for you guys to participate in that, and that makes me so happy. Ooh, look at this. Okay, so getting distracted. And so that makes me very happy. So I just wanted to thank you. And I am offering a special price for the next 24 hours for my tarot readings at $88. Normally they're $111. So if you're feeling it, just go to the link in bio or tap the link in my story and it'll take you right there. You don't need a discount code. I already changed the price, so you're good to go. And I actually want to talk a little bit about how I read tarot cards. So I got into tarot cards not in the sense of ooh, I want to do this for people, but I got into it first for myself. That was the whole thing. I started my spiritual journey and I wanted to tap into my gifts, tap into my intuitive abilities. And so my spiritual mentor suggested to get a tarot deck. And this was the Rider-Waite was my very first tarot deck. And it's actually the original tarot deck. And crap, I have something between my teeth. Oh, great. Well, this is what's happening. It's gone. Nice. Okay. Anyways, so that's how I got into tarot reading, was to tap into my intuition and to start learning how to use it. And so the first thing I actually did was I started practicing is trying to see what the cards told me without looking up on the definition. And started with that. And usually it was in the beginning, it was very much one word. I was only able to say one word of what came through. And then through time I started reading up on the cards, reading up on the definitions, and it just all kind of came naturally. The more I started to learn what pentacles, what the swords, the wands, and the cups all meant, the story in the major arcana, because it is a story that kind of it goes through. And so I started tapping into all those aspects through time. And also each card represents also an astrology sign. For example, the Lovers is Gemini, Justice is Libra. And so those little small things. And so the more I learned, the more I started learning about what every element of the cards meant, that now when I read cards, I already know so much information of the actual card itself, but it doesn't necessarily mean that entire information is what is going to come out in a reading. Doesn't mean because you have, for example, strength doesn't always mean tapping into your inner strength. It can mean different meanings depending on what is paired with the card or what question comes up, what do you ask, and so on. So there is a lot more than just knowing what these cards mean. And because I've been practicing and tapping into my intuitive abilities for quite some time now, I would say we're nearing on 2 years, going towards 3 years basically. And so the more intuitive I become, the more I'm able to like tap into those intuitive messages and relay the information that I get that comes through. Now, everybody is different in how they get their intuitive hits. We're all different. We all have different clairs and different intuitions. And so because I don't have a undefined or open head, I have a defined head and a defined ajna. So I don't get the downloads like some other intuitive like psychics will get it, like mediums especially will get it through their head because their head is undefined or open in human design, where mine is defined, and so it won't come through that way. So for me, it actually just comes in through my inner knowing, and it's just, I just know. It basically taps into my G center, and I use my self-projected. So my G center is connected to my throat, and so when you do a reading with me, like in person or online, and I'm talking, sometimes like it comes up so fast that I talk really fast. But sometimes it does take a moment for me to tap in and see what I'm saying, because the message isn't coming from my mind, it's coming from my body. So it feels a little bit different, and it's not like, oh, these thoughts, for example. It's just like, no, it comes from here and it comes out. And so when I'm typing it on IG stories, it's really cool because that's like, it allows me to really be like, okay, well, like take a moment, and it's like, what are these cards trying to say? And it's the moment I get going, it all comes out. So at first I may feel lost, like even when I'm speaking or when I start typing, I'm like, I don't know what it's saying. And then as I start typing, it just all flows out. Or as I start talking, it all comes out. So it's really cool how my card reading is like how it works in comparison to like my sister, for example, where she just gets it from her mind. And then there's someone else I spoke to that they get like pressure on their ear, and then it kind of like they can't at first like really define what it is, and then they speak it. So everybody's intuitive abilities are different. And so I wanted to share that with you because it is a story. I didn't, like become a tarot reader just to like, I didn't pick up a tarot cards to become a tarot reader. I picked it up because I wanted to enhance and, start becoming more intuitive. Because before my spiritual journey, I wasn't really that tapped in. Being a projector and not having any defined motor centers, or even my spleen is not defined. So my authority and my intuition is like a little bit different than the classic like listen to your gut, or like the splenic like hear those like sudden hits of intuition. I don't get those. So it was like, it's definitely been a journey to tap into like my clairs and my intuition and using my authority in human design. And then through time, as I started, like I started reading for myself, and then eventually through time, like I had friends and I'm like, oh, do you want me to pull cards for you? Or I'll pull cards for my sister. And then through time, I started getting people tell me like, oh, you are really good at this. You are really good at that. And in human design, my profile is a 2, which is a hermit. And hermit, we struggle with seeing our gifts, like unless somebody calls us out on it. And so that is when I realized like, oh, like, okay, like this is a gift I have, and so let me share it. And I launched intuitive readings last summer, and so since then I've done a few which have been fun, and then I occasionally do it in my lives. I also do it sometimes on Twitter, but not so much recently. And then I'll do it like randomly on my stories. And most of the time I've done on my stories, it's been like just a handful, like anywhere between 3 to 5. And this time I actually got a huge amount, which was really fun because to me, reading cards is fun. Like, it's exciting. I've always found it fun. Even when I was younger, I was always curious about tarot cards, but I thought that, you needed to be a psychic to read tarot at that time. Like it was like very much like, thought it was like meant for certain types of people, and that, not everybody can access it. But now I've learned that no, everybody can read cards, anybody can access those intuitive abilities. It just all depends on how much you want to as well, if you want to. And if you do, just go buy yourself a tarot deck and start how I started. Start first by just like, pulling for yourself and seeing what comes up first, and then looking at the definition. A good website to that I use sometimes when I'm confused and I'm not sure what the message is, I use biddytarot.com, and it is a really good website. So you can go check that out. Tarot is different than Oracle. I am going to say that. So I do pull both Tarot and Oracle, but Oracle most of the time I use, I refer to the booklet that comes with the Oracle cards. And then sometimes I use like my intuition with the Oracle. And so, yeah. Anyways, I wanted to share that with you. I hope that you are doing well, and I hope that you are doing all good now in Mercury retrograde and those crazy full moon energies. I know I'm feeling them, and that's it. So if you have any questions, like, send me a DM. If you like this video, please like, share, comment. I always appreciate it, and I will speak to you tomorrow for day 108. Bye.